Dan Georgia, Ben Shalom. Ben, an incredible main event, Richard Riakporhe versus Chris Billam-Smith. Set the scene for us. How excited are you for this?
It's been a long time coming. I think all fighters dream to fight for a world title, but to fight in your hometown stadium, obviously Chris Billam-Smith did that last year. Richard will do it this year. You can't ask for anything more. It's what dreams are made of. Most fighters will never get to experience that. So I'm proud to be able to deliver it for both guys. I think they've had a long history with us. Chris Billam-Smith has performed incredibly. One of our biggest success stories, but same with Richard as well, who was our first signing after we signed with Sky. So to see him develop to world level has been great. He's had to be patient, but now he gets the fight that he wanted, and he gets in his hometown. So yeah, really excited. 50-50 fight. It's a real special fight.
Stadium fight in the summer as well, outdoors, just adds to the occasion, doesn't it?
Yeah, in London as well. We've never had a stadium in London. Obviously, you're at Wembley a lot. You're at the O2, and sometimes you lose that, especially in the summer. It can be so hot, and I think this event is so British. A British world title deserves to be in a stadium, and Steve Parish and Crystal Palace saw that vision. They've been around for a long time. We've been speeds at Crystal Palace for a long time. I think it was maybe 2 years ago when we first spoke, and they were so keen on getting Richard there. And so to see it all come together, they want to have a festival experience. They're celebrating 100 years of Selhurst Park as well. It's just before the Euros. It will be a really big night.
And do you feel like there's added pressure on that man, Richard Riakporhe, with, obviously he's not the champion, he's the challenger coming into this, but, the occasion, being the face of Crystal Palace for the 100-year anniversary in the summer, do you feel that comes with a pressure?
Look, fighting for a world title comes with pressure. And if I'm honest, most fighters won't get to challenge in their hometown. Chris Billam-Smith got to do it last year, worked out really well for him. Yes, there's pressure. There's always going to be pressure fighting for a world title. Not many people can do it in front of their hometown and do it at a stadium, so he should be this is set up for him. When he's turned over, I'm not sure, look, this is what he'll have dreamt of. Will he have known that it will happen? You don't know. You never know how things are going to fall. But he gets that opportunity, so he should be, rather than feeling pressure, he should be absolutely over the moon. Very excited, and also gives himself to really cement himself in British boxing history.
Could there be unification fights for the winner of this?
Look, both of them want to do that. I think Richard's got more of an eye on the heavyweight division. I think he's a big boy. We saw Lawrence, similar frame, now wanting to go up. And I think Richard has that ambition. But for Chris, he certainly wants to unify. He said it a few times to us. His dreams to fight in the States. That Ramirez fight is one that we'll watch, that we would want for him. But you can't plan anything. These guys are going in on June 15th. I don't know who's going to win. No one does. So, unifications, and we'll see what happens at the end of the year.
Just personally for you, do you feel like do you feel a bit of pride in putting fights on like this, and you've recently put on some fantastic fights, Joshua Buatsi, Dan Aziz, Wardley Clark at the O2, and now you've got these fights, you've got more coming up as well. With certain kind of, other promotions maybe having a bit of a dig at you, I know you called it unprofessional from their behalf, but do you feel like, there's an element of pride for yourself to be able to put on fights of this magnitude in football stadiums, when, as the brand's continuing to grow, the boxer brand?
Yeah, I mean, we're a young business. We've started in British boxing. Our focus is British boxing, so that's what we love. That's what we thrive on, and to be able to deliver for our fighters as well as putting on the biggest domestic fights that we possibly can. It's special. I think, very proud. Very proud of the team. We continue to put on the biggest nights. We've had Mayor Jonas that started the year in Liverpool, which was phenomenal. We went into Buatsi Aziz, another unbelievable fight. Wardley Clark was just one of the fights of the decade, really. Then we got Lauren Price getting to Cardiff in front of her hometown, which has created a huge amount of interest, and she is just sold so well for someone in her position, and is almost a national treasure in Wales. Deliver for Lawrence Okoli, get his world title after a very difficult period and wanting to move up, and then get to the stadium in June. It's been a really good 6 months in a challenging environment, in an environment where we are independent and we're in Britain, and we have to really work very hard within our budget to put on the best fights we can for fans, and that's what we've been doing the past 6 months, and long may it continue.
I know on that Cardiff card, as you mentioned, on the undercard, Louis Edmondson's taking on Joel McIntyre. Exciting fight for him. Hopefully some big things on the horizon. Just a word on Louis Edmondson, the opportunity to be on a card like that, another big chance for him.
Yeah, I really like Louis. There's a lot of talk about him maybe fighting Ben, and maybe one day that will happen, but just good to see another fighter developing. It's interesting how it's worked out. He's fighting a Portsmouth lad, and in Southampton and Portsmouth. I'm almost glad that's in Cardiff, to try and we had a lot of trouble actually last year. I think it was in June at the Bournemouth Stadium. The Southampton and Pompey fans don't like each other, so a bit of a rivalry there. But yeah, great to see Louis developing, and a great lad as well.
And could you see? You said you could see that Ben Whittaker fight happening in the future. He's been very vocal about it. Why don't you think it may be? Why don't you think it may be happen? Because he said there was I spoke to him the other day. He said there was a potential date set for the start of February. Why don't you think that maybe materialise just yet?
Look, I think both are on their own paths. With Ben, key is activity. The key is getting to the rankings. He had a potential opportunity here. He's fought December, he's fought February, he's fought March. He's now fights in June. Sometimes people's schedules, people want to fight at different times. It doesn't always add up. But they're both on their own journeys. And I think that light heavyweight division, when you look at it, obviously you've got those boys at that level, but then you've got the Yards and the Boatzis and the Callum Smiths and Lyndon Arthurs and Dan Aziz. It's a great division. So we're going to see some great fights, and that's what's exciting with Ben in that, who's blowing up really as a superstar in British boxing, but also world boxing. There's so many great fights for him, whether that's Louis, whether that's Dan, whether that's Josh, whether that's Anthony. I mean, the list goes on, and we've seen throughout this year how much fans love the British fights. They perform like no other thing, and great division, and both of them will be in some great fights.
I know Lee Cutler's not been announced yet, but are you hoping that he might be able to be a part of this card? I know he wants to fight with Joe Laws. Is that something that maybe BM's do on this one or another one?
Yeah, look, we'll look at it. Lee's got a great following as well. I always thought when Chris finishes, maybe Lee will be the one headlining in the BIC down in Bournemouth, which has been amazing for us. So look, we'll see. Things still to be announced on this card, and hopefully some more news next week.
And Michael McKinson's not really been as active since the December card. I know he's out in Vegas at the moment. He said he wants the David Avanesian fight, a big fight like that. Could you see something maybe on the horizon for Michael?
We're trying. Again, things just need to fall in place for Michael. Very frustrating career since Ortiz, and I think he's a fantastic fighter, almost too good for his own good. And that happens sometimes in boxing, especially in the welterweight domestic division. I think he's the last person people want to fight, but he wants to fight David Avanesian, and I think that's a fight that can happen. So hopefully we'll see that.
Watch your space.
Yeah.